Hey guys, and welcome back to Gnomoria. This is the third episode in a little bit of a tutorial slash let's play of the game. Now, if you remember, we left off, we had this big construction project which was filling in all this dirt, and there's basically nothing that was going to happen between last episode and this episode, so I went ahead and just let them fill in all the dirt, but I left out I didn't fix a couple of the problems that they were having. So I'm going to do that in this episode and show you how to kind of troubleshoot some of your construction projects. As well as we're going to start digging in here to get our Great Hall going and start planning out where we're going to put our workshops inside of our little mountain fortress that we're going to make. As well as just kind of build we're going to cheat a little bit and build a dirt layer over top just to bridge these two areas together. And the reason we're going to do that now, and then we'll just fill in underneath, is it'll make things a lot easier as we plan out. And as gnomes are not busy, they can kind of fill in the underneath area. So with that being said, one thing I'll just mention quickly that I did change, I just kept extending the stockpile as they were building up, so they'd have something to do and they'd haul crap up there. As you can see, we're kind of filling up with room. We need to make more bags, but unfortunately we can't right now because we don't have a tailor. Tailor's responsible for bags. But we will add in 2 crates just to even it up a little bit. And then underneath here, you'll notice that another one of these jobs are done, and the reason for that is they can't build off ramps. You can build off stairs, but they can't build off ramps. That's why that didn't happen. So in order to fix that, what we're going to do is mine that area out, and then we're going to build a floor. Again, it doesn't matter because this is a layer we're just going to stack on top. We're going to build a floor there. And what's going to happen is they're going to mine all this out. They'll construct that one, they'll build that floor, and then we'll be able to construct the rest of it. So wait till he finishes building that. Oh, that guy decided to go to sleep because he's a jerk. No, you can't build it that way. Does not work if you build it that way. So set that one up again. Hopefully they'll build it correctly this time. And they're starting to finish up over here, so that's good. And we're going to set them to build this floor too. And if you'll notice, it is currently the 11th day of spring. And what that means is on the first day of a new season, so there's 12 days in the season, the first day of a new season we're going to get some nomads. And what we're going to do with our nomads is we're going to make them our military and start training them up. Now, one thing that's important to know when you get nomads is it's based off your kingdom worth as well as your Great Hall's worth. Obviously our Great Hall, we don't have one, so it's not going to be worth anything. So we're not expecting to get very many nomads unless we get super lucky. But that's okay because it also means that we're not going to get attacked by a whole bunch of goblins before we're ready to properly deal with them. We'll just have to deal with like 2 or 3 and they won't be very well armed. And we want to keep it like that for at least a little while. So they're complaining about job pathing. Not entirely sure why. I'm actually gonna just knock those walls out. There we go. So this is looking good though. They've got most of the plateau done, which is perfect. But by kind of finishing off our plateau, we can start to get a scale for how we want to build it and wall it off and all that fun stuff. And where we're going to put our gatehouse and things like that. Then we can slowly extend it over time and do it relatively safely. Because if we're doing all our major terraforming early, that's before we get any big goblin attacks, so we don't have our workers that can't defend themselves getting attacked by heavily armored goblins and ogres and all that stuff. It's not what we want. Alright, so yeah, they're finishing that off now, which is great. And once this is finished, I'm gonna start thinking about, well, I can start thinking about that now, how I want to do this area for a Great Hall. Now I was originally going to make like a really cool like 3-story Great Hall, but only the first story matters on your Great Hall anyway, and I don't really have enough space to do a massive Great Hall, so I'm fortunately not going to do it. I just don't think it would work that well. So with that being said, probably gonna port in about here. Do something like that. And then get one more. So we're gonna make our kitchens and whatnot over there, so. Just check. Alright. So we're gonna use 4 wide hallways. This is gonna end up being a little bit of a staircase. And then our great hall is gonna go right here. And I don't want to be replacing outside tiles. So it's going to be a small great hall, but whatever. I started here. Get a 20-ish. Yeah, we go 20 on our great hall, which is perfect. 20 by 20 is a nice big great hall. Check, see what these guys are doing. Yeah, everything's getting built, put together. Excellent. Now, because I haven't actually cleared this, they won't start mining it. Which is what I want, because I don't know where I'm going to center this. Probably not even right on point. And then for our kitchen workshops, we're going to build them over here. And our kitchen workshops are going to be essentially 10 by 3 is like a correct workshop. So we need an extra space, so 10 by 7. Me too. Yeah, 10 by 8. Give me the ability to have 2 workshops plus a torch. And this one will be 10 by 7. This one also 10 by 7. And then over here, yeah, we just need a 3 there. Gee, that's all wrong, man. These guys are so dumb. Alright. So because, here's what's happening, I'll explain it. Basically they're going to build that, they're trying to build it on a ramp, but you can't build on a ramp. However, the Gnome AI doesn't know that. There are still a couple of flaws with that, so all we're going to do is just take out that ramp right there. Which will stop them from being dumb. And they'll have to walk around and then they'll build it. So, kind of unfortunate, but it's important to be able to identify why they're having trouble. It does take some time to sort of figure that out, though. Alright. Terrain wall. Any clump. There we go. Now we'll build that. And then build terrain floor. Any clump. And we're gonna go... It's important we keep this on the right level. Something I haven't mentioned yet, but if whatever level you go to build on is what they're gonna do. So if I'm on, like, 9... this floor is like 9 and 12 in the sky right now. That's not good enough. So what you want to do is pull it down so you can't see the floor, and then go back up one. And height 2 is the correct height. So we're going to be able to make this line up properly, and we're just going to line it up on the edges there. And then they're going to go ahead and build this great big floor all the way across, which will make our life much easier. And then we'll worry about making it correct after. Or making it not just like a big dirt bridge that would theoretically fall over in real life. Alright. Alright, so where to do my workshops? Let's pull this down. This is going to have to be the outside wall, so I actually don't want that. And then we'll build off here. Explain what we're doing. So we'll go 10 by 8, 10 by 7, and 10 by 7. And this little area is going to intersect with our Great Hall as well as our regular workshops. And the purpose for this is where we're going to store food and drink when it's finished. So people can go from the Great Hall straight over. And we're going to put all our food workshops in there. And what I think we're going to do... I suppose I could do a staircase over here. Probably... as it goes up, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. What about this side? Not going to make a whole lot of sense there either. Trying to figure out the best way to do a staircase or where. I suppose I could just put the staircase. Yeah, if I built the staircase here... that'll work. Have to figure out how I want to do it. well, how big of a room do I need? So it's got to be, this is going to be the entrance, and then 4x4 should allow me to have a decent staircase there. And down over here we're just going to have a 8x8, and this is just an excess stockpile. So we can put whatever over there for now. We're not going to build the Great Hall up right away either. Alright, and we've got a yak that's born. That's excellent. Just going to pause real quick. Alright, so now we can get into our next set of workshops. Before we even mine this out. The yak gives you the bone carver, which gives you your tailor and your loom and all that stuff, which is super important. So we're going to start planning those out now. So food and drink, butcher shop. And we'll just put that there. And so what the butcher shop does is the butcher shop is for butchering livestock or butchering goblins and stuff like that to make meat. Very important. We're also going to make a bone carver and a leather worker out here. And I'm going to actually move the butcher shop eventually, but... And bone carver is under miscellaneous, so we're going to build that there. And also under miscellaneous is the leather worker, which we're also going to build over here. So these ones are important because that's what's going to let us get our tailor, which we're also going to do now. That's under cloth. You need a loom. And need a tailor. That'll allow us to start getting bandages, which are really important. As well as we can make some bone armor. So again, we're not too worried about our food, because again, we can just go, and I'm actually going to forge some of these trees now anyway. So let's go ahead and do that. So just so we can get some food in. Have they built the well? Yeah, they built the well. That's good. So I don't have to worry about drink right now. And then in order to build these workshops, we have to use basically our stone cutter and our stone mason and our carpenter. So to build these, very simple and straightforward. We've got lots of pine planks. And we're going to build, sorry, let's move it over. We're going to build in terms of chairs. You can see I need 5 chairs. So 5 chairs. These ones actually use tables. I need 4 tables because the loom is a separate thing. So 4 tables. And then we're going to need 3 hilts. Because there's a hilt for each knife. The bone carver, leather worker, and the butcher all use it, as well as the kitchen later, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. As well as a loom. So our carpenter's going to go to work on all that. And then over here, we need to make 3 knife blades and 3 knives. And what this will do is create almost all of these workshops, except for one piece, which I'll explain. Alright, so everything's good. This is nicely planned out. I just need to figure out where I'm going to put my doorways in. So this is the Great Hall. I would like the Great Hall to be as centered as possible, but I don't think I can, so we're going to wedge it over a little bit. We'll have 2 doors there, and 2 doors there. And then over here, I'm just going to go 1 and 1. And that's 3. Put that one there. And put that one there. And just like that. And this is going to connect all those rooms, which I'll show you why we're doing it that way in a second. And then for over here, because I want a symmetrical entrance, we're actually going to do it like this. We'll go 5 wide. And we'll build a correct entrance in a second. Cancel that job. Alright, so our miners are going to start mining all this out. hopefully they'll get some resources and stuff out of that too, which should be ideal. Alright. How's our carpenter doing? Yeah, he's already down to 2 hilts and a loom. Once he gets those hilts done, they'll get the knives and they'll build these. So you can see, I've got all the pieces built for those workshops, and you can see how fast it goes when you already have your planks and your blocks and all that prefabricated. And we're gonna save the game here, just really quickly. And this is obviously, like, this is how I want to design my fort. You can design yours however you want, doesn't really matter. Okay, so we got nomads. So as you can see, you get them on the first day of summer. Now the catch here is, this is also about the same time goblins are going to start showing up to attack you. And the nomads will just show up on the edge of the map, so hopefully you don't have anything nasty like a bunch of mants or whatever waiting to kill them, but in this case there's nothing on the map, so we're good. Now what that means, we can go into our population though, and we can start assigning some new jobs. So the first thing we need to do is make a soldier profession, so we're going to do that. Alright, sorry about that. Soldier profession, and we're going to take all this off. Just had to sneeze there, so I had to mute off my microphone. Alright. And we'll leave the miscellaneous stuff. Doesn't really matter what order it's in, I don't care. I'll use the soldiers later on if I need a specific job doing, and I'll just go into the soldier profession and set, you know, hauling is their #1 thing if I really need them to haul something. Because soldiers spend almost all of their time either training or fighting other enemies, they don't need to have anything really set up. And then we're going to go ahead and find our nomads, see if anybody's got a particular skill that we like. This guy's a pretty good smelter. Alright. So being that this guy's a good smelter, we're just going to set him as a laborer. And we're going to go and make a bunch of soldiers. Which is, this guy a good farmer? Because I know that's going to be important. No, he's a crap farmer. This guy's a decent farmer. How are you? You're bad too. Alright. So because our farmers are going to get replaced right now, our farmers are actually going to go into other jobs like tailoring and cooking and brewing. And the reason for that is because they actually start, your farmers and your herdsmen start with really high skills in those categories. So early on, you actually want to pull them off those jobs and put them into other things. So you can see, like, my herdsman has a 29 in cooking. I don't really, like, herding is not important. That's a skill they can earn quickly. Same thing with farming. Farming is a skill they can earn very fast. And it's not overly important towards the colony early on. You can afford to take time to train them up. Things like cooking and brewing take much longer, so you wanna do it that way. That being said, we've got our soldiers, and now we need to go into the military tab and set them up. We need to set up our military now. Now, most games you would work from left to right. In this game you work from right to left, so we're going to start with uniforms. And we're just going to remove that plate mail one because it's not useful to do with. And we're going to make a new one. And we're going to call it just soldiers, because that's what they want. Now we're going to set them to wear anything. And the reason for that is they will wear the best piece they can find. Now, under weaponry, you're going to use a stone hammer and a stone hand axe. Now this is going to change when we get metal weapons, and we're just going to set it to hammers or axes. But if you only set it to, because there's an option like hand axe here, if you set it to hand axe, they won't use stone for whatever reason. So you have to set the stone manually early on. And we're going to make a new one called, we'll just call it Hard Times. And this uniform is going to be nothing. We don't want them to wear anything, and the reason for this is for the rest of our gnomes, because we don't have extra armor or anything for them. We don't want them to pick up soldiers' armor or weapons, right? So we need to set that up, and then we're going to go over to positions, and we've got basic soldier, which we're just going to rename as soldier for ease of use, and we want them to retreat if bleeding, retreat to equip uniform, and what will happen here is, and we also have to set their uniform to soldiers, If they do that, if they don't retreat if bleeding, they'll end up bleeding out and dying a lot, and you don't want that. You want them to go heal up. Same thing with retreat to equip uniform. This will mean if, let's say their chest plate breaks in the middle of a fight, you don't want them fighting with a broken chest plate. They'll die. So if you have it set up like that and you have an extra chest plate laying around, they'll go equip it. And then we're going to set up another one, perk, sorry. We're going to set their perk to Frenzy, and the reason we're choosing Frenzy is that just when wielding two weapons they get increased attack speed, which is much better for training than it otherwise would be. So that's why we're going to use that, much more important for us. Anyway, and yeah. We're going to set up a new one. This is for civilians, we're just going to call it Civs. And the perk for this is Way of the Gnome, because they get increased attack speed, increased attack damage, dodge chance, and dodge rate with no armor or weapon is equipped. And just one sec. Alright, and so Way of the Gnome is good for your just regular civilians, and you want them in hard times. We don't really want them to pursue lost targets, but we want them to retreat if bleeding, so they'll go heal themselves up. And Way of the Gnome, if they're unarmed, it gives them basically increased stats across the board, and it's really, really good for your regular civilians early on. Eventually you will pull them out of the army, but early on it doesn't matter. Now these are the formations. Basic formation, this is just going to be soldier formation. And we want this on perform attack orders, defend gnomes, we don't want them avoiding enemies. And the perk here is going to be, which one? Yep. The best defense is good offense. So increased melee weapon damage for each member with a melee weapon. Then we need another formation for our civs. And early on, again, we're going to set this to defend gnomes, perform attack orders, and the perk here, keep your eyes open, will actually give them increased vision. Because they're not using weapons, can't do that, right? And then we have to set each one to a civ. Alright, now we go to squads. New squad, the bristled hairs, sure, no. The negating despairs, sure, why not? Soldier formation. And you'll see this all changes to soldier, and then we just pick our soldiers, this is the reason we set soldier as a profession, so it's easy for me to see what they are. And we know we just have two, so we'll add them there. And then new squad, this one is going to be civilian squad, and we're just going to add all our civilians into it. You can only have 5 people in a squad, so you'll have to make extras. That's okay. And eventually you will get rid of these, but early on you really need them because your regular soldiers won't be able to handle the goblins on their own. But if your whole fort comes and defends them, then they're going to mess them up, right? And you're going to win. So we've got all our military set, and now we just need to set our squad to negating despairs to train, and they're going to go ahead and start training. And after we've done all that work, because it's a lot of tedious organizing, we just want to make sure we save our game, right? Am I missing a yak here? Nope, they're all there. Okay, good. Alright, now we can go back and our guys are going to mine this out for us, which is great. Some guy fell asleep on the floor, that's not so good. And you can see our military gnomes have now picked up their stone weapons and are fighting, which is what we want. And task to build butcher shop. They've got all the parts, so they're going to start building our workshop soon, which is exactly what we want. And we're starting to get our internal fort built, which is good. We're starting to build this bridge over, which is great. And things are looking good. This is a very good basic setup that will get you through the early days when things can be tough. And what we're going to do early on, it sounds silly, but we're probably just going to use our Great Hall as a big stockpile. To kind of move this stockpile indoors. And not actually build anything in our Great Hall. Because, well, it's nice to build it, and we want to make it look good and all that stuff. we want to get as much crap out of the open as we possibly can. And like, we're not even going to put doors or anything like that on, because eventually we're going to have to tear down. We don't want dirt walls inside our fort. We want like real nice stone walls and stone floors and all that. But if we did that right now, we would have no labor. Plus, the bluestone's ugly as all hell, so we don't really want the bluestone. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. So things are starting to come along here. Now, what we want to do is butcher one of our yaks. So we're going to click on our butcher, click on yak pasture. We want to butcher a male yak because we need a male and a female to get more. We're actually going to increase the priority of our butcher shop, and hopefully, yeah. Now we're going to go to our bone carver. We're going to increase priority to 3 on this as well, and we're just going to craft 1 bone needle, which is what we need to finish our tailor. Then we're going to go to our leather worker. Same thing, we're actually going to increase priority on that. We're going to set it to craft 2 times, leather straps, and we're going to craft to 10. We don't need to make any leather armor, but our yak is going to provide us with hides as well, that we can use to make some basic stuff. So you can see our herdsman's going to butcher that, and then he's going to make a bone needle. And I don't believe he's set up as a tailor, but that's okay. Now we have our tailor, craft bolt of cloth. We want to craft to 100 on the loom. Sorry if this part's going a bit fast, guys, but I'll give a rundown after of everything as well. So you can see we've already got somebody working on the loom. I don't know why. I didn't set a tailor, did I? I've got a farmer tailoring. That's a mistake. Not supposed to be tailoring, but they are. It's interesting. Alright, so we're going to go to population. We need to get a new profession, which is our tailor. So new profession, tailor. And we're just going to kill off all of this because we only want them to do cloth and leatherworking. The reason we're including leatherworking is because that's a very minimal task. You don't do it very often. So, and we're going to go over here. Just set workshop to the highest, and then I don't really care what else they do because they're going to spend the vast majority of their time working as a tailor. So now we need to find somebody who we can make a tailor. Who's a good tailor? Usually one of your farmers. Yeah, that guy. This guy's better. You're going to be a tailor. Congratulations. No idea why the farmer's doing that, but whatever, I don't really care. Now you can see our tailor's going to make leather straps, which is great. We're actually going to go to our bone carver. We're going to make 1 skull helmet and 1 bone shirt. And that's going to give our other guy in the military at least a little bit of protection. Because you do start with a copper breastplate and a copper helmet. It's only good for 1 gnome, and you need 2 gnomes to train, so we're going to make sure this guy gets a little bit of protection. The bone stuff sucks, you don't want to make very much of it. But it is good in a pinch. Alright. Designate this area as just a massive stockpile. And we're going to store everything here again. And we're going to go ahead and just remove the designation on our old stockpile. Build storage, crate. And we already have 21 crates, which is great. So we're going to build 20 there. We don't want to build any more. Even though I have 21, one of them's just like that overflow crate if I need to make more. Bags. We're going to put some bags over here. And we're actually going to have... We can only build 19. Oh, I didn't designate the bottom. Oh, whatever. Designate areas, stockpile. Missed 1 rung there. So build storage crate. We put our last crate there. Build storage bag. Build a bag there. Build storage barrel. And you actually don't need very many barrels, so I'm only gonna build like 6. We're gonna go to our carpenter, and we're gonna set him up to start making some extra barrels. out of pine. So same thing as the crate, he's just going to make one barrel, they're going to go place it and build it, and we'll go from there. Now we've got our kitchen set up. This is where we have to start getting a little bit serious with our workshop. So we need to build our kitchen area out so that our guys can start making food and all that stuff. So the first thing is we're going to double stack the workshops, and the reason for that is if one of these butchers gets full, I don't want to be in a position where I can't do anything. So I'm going to build 2 butchers. I actually built one in the wrong spot, so cancel that. So sometimes like your gnomes will be busy and they won't have time to clear out the finished product from a workshop, and you don't want your guys to stop working because of that. So we're building 2 butchers, 2 kitchens, and we're going to build 2 distilleries as well. Because again, we don't want our gnomes to have to stop working just because they didn't have enough time to kind of clear everything out. But there's a lot going on, so there's a lot of work for our guys to do now. That being said, what we can do, because we don't need this butcher here, is we'll just deconstruct that, and they'll move it over. And then we need to go to our carpenter, and we need to get him to make some chairs. So, what do we need? We need 4 chairs, and, or sorry, 3 chairs and 5 tables. So we're gonna go there. 3 chairs because we have chairs from our other guy. 3 chairs. You need a table. Where's table? There we go. 5 tables. Again, we're only making pine planks, we're not making planks out of anything else, so if I don't designate what I want it made out of, that's okay. Except for that crate, I'm actually going to fix that. Because at some point down the line I might change, and the worst thing in the world is having multiple colored crates and pine barrels and stuff. It just looks ugly. When you have like 4 different colored crates in there, it's like, what did I do? You want to start throwing them away, but you can't. You have to sell them to a merchant. And we'll get some hilts. We need 3 hilts because we need 3 more knives for our butcher and our kitchen. So we're going to go here, which is our stonemason. 3 knife blades, and 3 knives. And then we need to start doing more advanced stockpiles, which we'll do in 1 second here. But all that's going to start coming together. Yeah, we got lots of dirt, so we'll be able to build this out quite quickly. So in this episode we've got our military set up properly. You can see they're training, well they're actually sleeping, but they're training for the most part. We've got the rest of our gnomes ready to fight, just in case something happens. We've got our main Great Hall carved out, as well as like just a couple extra areas, like our staircase is going to be over here. We've got like a little extra, just an extra storage area, which is going to be good. And yeah, everything's looking pretty good. This is going to be for our food and drink for our Great Hall. And then above that, we're going to be able to start building, you know, personal quarters, and then below we can build like a big stockpile. But above we can build personal quarters, more workshops, that kind of stuff. Or we could build them below ground too, it doesn't really matter. And I actually did forget one thing here. I need to make, well, I'll wait till they fill those barrels in. Distiller's not overly important, but they take 2 pine barrels each, but they're actually going to build those pine barrels first. So we'll wait till they build those, and then I'll give the order for more pine barrels, because I don't want to have a big mess up. And eventually they'll move our stockpile and stuff over as well. But we want to get all this stuff indoors as fast as possible, really. But everything looks pretty good. But in the next episode, yeah, you can see this guy's thirsty. We have no drink, so he's going over this well. This is actually pretty dangerous because the well is pretty far away, though. And it doesn't really give him that much time without being thirsty. So we want to start making our own drink and food pretty soon. But we've set everything up to do that, so we should be good. Place floor, dirt clump. I really don't want clay, so let's get rid of all this clay. And some of this dirt isn't growing, so we're gonna fix that. Alright. But everything looks good. I think our Great Hall is not going to be the most spectacular one ever, but it'll be very serviceable for our needs anyway. And eventually, if we want to make a bigger one, like, you know, we have this big mountain over here that we didn't use because it's kind of short and awkward. So we could potentially make a big Great Hall there, or we could build one above ground. We could even just build, like, you know, a bunch of pillars over our farmland or something. There's lots of cool stuff we can do. But for right now, we're more concerned about getting all this stuff built and filled in. And once they finish building this, they're going to start hauling everything over. But that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. Hopefully I gave you some ideas on how to set up your military, how to get yourself started with like your core workshops and get all that figured out. And everything should be ready to go for you. The one last thing we'll talk about really quickly is our tailor, because we do have to set that up. That's what the bone needle was for, out of our bone carver. That's what you need to make the tailor, and the tailor is how you make bandages. So bandages are important, because when you fight, your guys will bleed. If you don't have enough bandages, they're just going to bleed out and die, and that's one of the silliest ways to lose a gnome. You really don't want to go through that. So we're also going to make some string, and padding, and bags. So with string and padding, we only want to make 5 at a time. And bags, we want to make 1. And then finally, bandages, we're going to craft 2. So theoretically, if everything else is done, what they'll do is they'll make 64 bandages, then they'll make 5 cotton string, 5 padding, make a bag. That'll use up some of the string, so they'll go back and make more, and then make another bag. When they're finished with all the bags, then they'll just go ahead and start making more bandages. And 128 is a pretty reasonable number to have, so don't have to worry too much about that. But I don't think we really have anything else left to do, other than wait a little bit for this to construct, and we're going to have a goblin attack soon. So I'll bring you back when the goblin attack starts, and I will see you guys next time.